Hey folks, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Natasha and I do book things here. My neighbor is de-weeding my front yard. Let's just close this a little more. Okay. So today's video is going to be my monthly wrap up for the month of July, where I read 14 books. Applause. But seriously, I read 14 things and I feel pretty damn proud of myself. As usual, I'm gonna give you guys my monthly stats. I have them all written down here because I don't remember them. Then we'll get into the review. So I read 14 books. That is 3,956 pages, dumbass. Which seems stellar. That equals 127 pages per day. So we'll get into my star ratings. I'll include a graphic here. I had one 1.5, 3 2-star books, 1 3-star book, 2 3.5s, 3 4s, and 4 5s. All over the place this month, like actually all over the place. I think that just comes with the territory of reading more books, like they're naturally just going to be more ratings. Wow. Logic. Out of that, my star rating for the month was a 3.5, which is not that good. That's pretty, like, slightly above average, but I did read one of my favorite books of the year. I can excuse the 2s in that case. So I did read 3 arcs, which is pretty good. I did end up reading 2 audiobooks and 9 physical books. I did listen to the audio and read at the same time. Just figured I'd mention that. I think that's actually more like 4 audiobooks, but for some reason I only added 2. I don't know why. So my genres are all over the place too. I have 1 contemporary, 2 fantasy, 2 mystery, 1 horror, 1 humor, 1 sci-fi, 1 thriller, and 5 graphic novels. Out of that, 9 were adult and 5 were YA. And my year of publication, I had 5 books published in 2019, then 2011, 2018, 2015, 2018, 2017, 2017, 2014, and 2008. So nothing significantly older. Still did not finish a Stephen King this month, which I'm kind of sad about, but we're getting there. We're working on it, okay? But yeah, that's kind of my stats for the month. I think it was just a really good month, just in terms of reading more and getting back into the passion of it. So yeah, without making this too long, I'm gonna get into the ratings. So the lowest rated book of the month is a 1.5. This was one of my TBR star picks. That is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I didn't like this. I thought it was not good. I'm pretty sure most people know what this is by now. It's basically a kid finds out via his grandfather that he is peculiar. He goes to this place where other peculiar kids are. I can't say that word, so it's just gonna be weird kids. He goes to this place where other weird kids are, and there's like a teacher lady who turns into a peregrine falcon. It's weird, it's strange, it's like fantastical thing, but I just did not really care. The thing that really made me actually boost this up in any way was the fact that all of the photographs included in this were like found photographs, which is something I'm passionate about. I really love found photographs, and I had this huge wall in my early 20s of found pictures, and since then I've taken them down and they're put in a drawer, but it's one of my favorite things to go to thrift stores and find like found photos. So that I really did like. The actual content of the book, I did not. I will not be continuing in on that series. I did not like it. I have 3 2-star books, so these books were just below average for me, and I didn't like any of them really that much. So the first one here was an arc, which I feel horrible rating an arc poorly, but sometimes they just don't work for you. That is The Dreaming Tree by Matthew Mather. The concept of this was really good, and to be honest, after having read the book, all I remember is the concept of this book. So this basically is about a man who wakes up after a car accident and has become a recipient of a full body transplant. So everything from like the spinal cord down is someone else's body. And there's also like a murder mystery kind of thing going on in this. I'll be honest, did not care about the murder mystery part at all whatsoever. Did not care. Thought it was super boring. But the parts that I did find interesting were the actual discussions of the body part, like the body transplants. I think that this book would be a much better book had they played more on that and played more on like phantom limbs and phantom body pains and what it means to be someone else's, like to be a head on someone else's body, and nerves that aren't your nerves and stuff like that. That was the part that interested me, and that's why I gave it a 2. All the other mystery stuff, did not care. If you're doing it based on just that premise of the whole like head transplant, body transplant thing, just know that like that's not the majority of the book, and I wish it was. Next 2-star book is yet another YA fantasy series, and also one of my TBR picks. That is Incan Bone, The Great Library. This, again, premise sounds cool. One of the reasons why I have some of these books is because they sound interesting. This is like what would happen if the Great Library of Alexandria still existed and sort of controlled all books and stuff like that and had, you know, endless information. That idea, amazing. All the other random adventures that these like group of kids who are trying to like work for the library had to endure, oh, could not care less. Again, so boring. The narrator for the audiobook was just this accent that put me right to sleep, so there was parts of this where I just went like, you know, spacing right out. Yeah, that's it. The first like maybe 50 pages of this was interesting, and then the rest of it was not. Did not care what they were doing, and by the end I just wanted it to be over. So again, giving it a 2 based on like the premise and the fact that it did keep me reading, but I didn't enjoy it that much. Next 2-star book was one that I read during the reading rush, and that was Hot Dog Girl by Jennifer Duggan. This was one of my favorite covers of the entire year, and what I thought would be one of my favorite books because, again, it's about falling in love when you have to dress up as a hot dog. A lot of these books that I'm rating lowly, like this entire, lowly? A lot of the books that I'm rating lower this month was because it gave me a pitch, and I liked the pitch, and I wanted that. I didn't want all the other crap that was in the book. I wanted just, you know, just the pitch that they gave me. A lot of them fell victim to just bad synopsis. So this follows Eloise, who, like, great name, love that name, and she works at this sort of like small town amusement park sort of thing that's run down, Magic Castle Playland, and it's really cute. I love that setting. I love like the carnival, you know, rundown fair, whatever, aspect of it. That caters to me. Like, that is what I got this book for. I was like, ooh, yes, that sounds amazing. The basis of this entire relationship is this sort of like, I'm bi, so I'm gonna date a girl in hopes that this guy now pays attention to me. And then when he finally pays attention to me, I'm gonna drop that girl. But oh, that girl, like, it wasn't good. It was too like teenage drama-y, like felt like a soap opera where I literally just wanted this girl to be wearing a hot dog and walking around this carnival for the majority of the book. That didn't happen, so I gave it a 2. And then the whole like cheating thing is in there, and I just don't like that either, especially like teenage cheating. It's like, why are you starting your teenage relationships cheating? Like, no. Next is my 1 3-star book, and that is a graphic novel, again, that I read during the reading rush. That is Moonstruck. This is volume 1, Magic to Brew. Now, I really like this in the fact that it's very, very diverse. All the characters are sort of different species and things like that. Just queer characters and everything. It's great. I love that. However, that's like all there is for me to love about it. What plot? There's no plot. I understand that this is like the first volume in a series, but like I was so confused reading this, and it read fast. So when it's fast and confusing, I don't know what the fuck happened. But you know, I did thoroughly like the art style. I thought it was really cute. So it's hard to say if I'm going to pick up any more of this. Like, I think if I just so happen to like stumble across it, I'll pick it up, because I did think it was cute enough. They just needed a better plot. My next 2 books are both 3.5 stars, and both of them are graphic novels as well. First one I have here is Sheets, and this one I'm giving, you know, close to 4, 3.5, because, oh, the art style is literally everything, and it's pretty precious. So this follows Marjorie and Wendell, who is the sheet or the ghost, and Marjorie, due to her mother's death, has to run the family laundromat, and it's sad, dude. It's fucking sad. I didn't expect that to be like as dark as it was. It's sad. I cried like twice in the first like 50 pages of this graphic novel about laundromat ghost. There's Wendell, who is this like child ghost, which is also depressing. He gets picked on in the ghost world, so he leaves and he causes sort of hijinks in Marjorie's life, and it's sad. It's sad. It's just sad. I don't know. It ends up being okay at the end, but like for the majority of this, it's just real dark. And I think I gave it a 3.5 because honestly it bummed me out. But it's one of my absolute favorite color schemes and artwork and a graphic novel of all time. It's really freaking cute, okay? So if you have interest in this, please get it. Just know that it's shockingly darker and sadder than I would have anticipated. I mean, I really liked it, but it was sad. And then another 3.5 star graphic novel is After You Are Gone, We Are Here Forever by Michelle Gish. I love the sort of the way this is laid out. So this was sent to me by Quirk, and little did I know that Quirk works with I believe Penguin, and so I ended up getting this package on my doorstep that like Jeff had to sign for, and it was from like Penguin, and I'm like, hold on a second, I'm not getting anything from Penguin, what the fuck is this? And then it ended up being from Quirk, so that made much more sense. Pretty interesting. I think I want to reread this. So there are these little purple guys called Purimus, and you sort of follow them through like post-apocalyptic scenarios, and it's pretty deep. So, and like some of them are pretty light and other ones are more deep, and so I feel like you really need to stop and analyze each scene. Again, darker than I thought it would be, and I was not in the mood for things that like required a great deal of thinking. I really enjoyed it, but it was surface level to me, but I think like if you read it knowing that you need to look a little bit below surface level, it might be higher rated. I thoroughly enjoy this. It was higher than average, so I gave it a 3.5. So finally I'm getting into 4 and 5 star books. Finally. So the first 4-star book was another arc, and really happy I picked this up, and actually that Julie and Amber got me to get this book at BEA because this was a lot of fun. This is The Chain by Adrian McKinty. You get a call, your child has been kidnapped. You then have to go kidnap a child and convince the parents of that child to kidnap another child, and etc, etc. Keep this like kidnapping chain going. In order for you to then get your child back, you have to do that, right? And it starts off like that, it follows that, it explains it, it's, you know, there's a little bit of twist, there's a little bit of turns. It's very high-paced in that it feels like anxious as you're reading it, because you're following these characters as they're feeling so stressed about what their next move is and what they need to do. I really like this. I think this is going to be a book that people sort of like highly talk about for a little while because the premise is so interesting. And it messed up, and it does in a way sort of mimic, I don't know, parts of it definitely mimic, I suppose, like the sex trafficking trade or kidnapping trade of children in general in the world, so keep that in mind. It's definitely sensitive to certain subjects. It's not necessarily graphic, but if obviously kidnapping and child imprisonment is something that you don't want to read about, maybe you don't want to read this, but I found it really fascinating, and I thought it was really fast as well because it was just thrilling and like a lot of narrative, like back and forth, a lot of conversations, and it really keeps the story going. So I do recommend this. This was a wild ride. Next 4-star is another mystery thriller, again one that I read during the reading rush, and this is Ruth Ware's The Death of Mrs. Westwood, and this one was pretty delightful. I read a lot of Ruth Ware now, and this is my favorite one by her because she knows how to write atmosphere, and she does atmosphere really well in this one. But this follows a woman named Hal who is she's in her like early 20s, and she is a magic card, no, she is a tarot card reader and does that as like a profession. She's also dealing with some like hard times and debt and stuff like that, and out of the blue she gets this letter saying, hey, like you need to come to this funeral and whatever, there is an inheritance for you, and it's not her. And she decides to go anyway and play into that character, and it's set in this like spooky house with these new people that she's never met. And yeah, a lot of like twists and turns in here, and I quite liked it actually. It is sort of a family-based thing, so there's only so many places that it could go, and I did kind of, I guess, see the ending coming, but thoroughly enjoyed the ride. So I gave it 4 stars. I do recommend this one. It's finally a Ruth Ware where her characters aren't absolutely stupid. So that's good. The next 4-star is another graphic novel. I categorize this one as humor because it is really more of like a humorous book. That is Bigfoot I Not Dead by Graham Romeu. And this follows little like 1-page, 2-page spreads all about Bigfoot's life. And it's pretty funny, and it's cute. I really like the art style. Bigfoot sometimes has to go to the corners to turn tricks to get money. You know, the kind of humor I thoroughly enjoy. Yeah, it's pretty goofy and pretty silly, but it's good stuff. I gave it a 4. There's not much more to say about this, honestly, truly. It's just, it's Bigfoot doing weird Bigfoot things. And I love Bigfoot, you guys know that. He's my favorite cryptid. So finally, 5 stars as my camera battery is blinking red. Let's get into this before I die. Not before I die, before the camera dies. And I guess I die too. 4 or 5-star books here, and all of them were amazing. I want to pair these two together though, because they kind of go together. That is Saga Volume 7 and also Volume 8. Just the next ones in the Saga series that I had to read. Let me tell you, 7 was upsetting. It made me cry. It was very emotional. And 8 sort of wraps up that emotional turmoil with some more. And so by this point in the book, I can't say anything about them. For those of you who may be unaware of Saga, it's basically alien species kind of a war, space opera kind of thing with amazing cast of characters and amazing art style and some of the weirdest stuff I've ever seen in a graphic novel. They are fantastic. There's a reason why these are so popular, and I get it, trust me. Both of these were 5 stars. Most of the series have been 5 stars for me, and they're great. And then second to last, favorite book of the month. Both 5 stars, but favorites for different reasons. I read The Troop by Nick Cutter. This is a horror novel, and it is classified as horror. To me, horror. It is this. This follows a scoutmaster and a scout troop as they go on like a wilderness thing out on an island in PEI. While they're there, this man stumbles onto the island, and he has a disease. A parasite, okay? And from there, there's a lot of parasites and gross things that happened, and it's gross and horrifying and nasty and gross. I was definitely grossed out by this book. I had to shut it a couple times. There were some very uncomfortable scenes, but let me tell you, I have not been thoroughly disgusted and grossed out by a horror book like this in a real dang long time. So from that alone, the fact that at one point I texted people and I said, I love this book, I hate this book, it's gross, it's grossing me out. That alone gives it 5 stars because it does what it's supposed to do, which is be a horror book and be fucking gross. So I absolutely love this. I'm definitely going to pick up more work by Nick Cutter because based on this alone, there's some really good writing here, some really good ideas, and he doesn't shy away from gore and messed up stuff. I'm pretty into this. Keep in mind, if you go to read this, there are lots of body horror in this. It's gross. There is trigger warnings for self-harm. That is a trigger for me. However, in this novel, it was due to other aspects, which is a little more easily digestible for me, if that makes sense. So just keep in mind for that trigger. Also, be mindful that there is definite abuse of animals in this as well. So yeah, there's a lot of triggers for this. Maybe go check out a Goodreads review, possibly. But definitely like body horror, self-mutilation, parasites, bugs, and animal torture abuse. Those are the 5 things that are in this, and they're not fun, but I still gave it 5 stars, so I don't know what that says about me. And then the last book of the month and my 5-star pick and my favorite book of the month, because I think I have decided that it is. So happy I read this. That is Dig by A.S. King. And it's so funny because this was recommended to me highly by Lala, and I 100% understand why she likes this book, and I'm pretty sure it's the exact same reason that I like this book. And I love that for us. Also, I find it funny that Chandler's reading this and Chandler's like, I don't know what the fuck I'm reading. It's really interesting. It's an interesting book. What is this book? I think the synopsis is probably gonna explain some things well. It says, the shoveler, the freak, can I help you? Loretta the flea circus ring mistress, and first class Malcolm. These are 5 teenagers lost in the Hemmings family maze of tangled secrets. Only a generation removed from being Pennsylvania potato farmers, Gottfried and Marla Hemmings managed to trade digging spuds for developing subdivisions and now sit atop of $1 million bank account. Wealth that they declined to pass on to their adult children or their teenage grandchildren. So I'm just gonna leave it for there because I feel like that alone sort of explains a good amount of this. And yes, you are reading this book, and yes, describes everybody as those names. So people introduce themselves as, I'm the freak, I am the shoveler, I am can I help you? And you realize as you're reading this book what that means and how all of their lives are sort of intertwined and how everything progresses. Is it weird? Yes. Is it unlike any reading experience I've had? Yes. Did I love every second of it? Yes. And the ending was just wonderful. Oh yeah, I like this a whole dang lot. I feel like there's also like the tiniest whisper of magical realism in this. Just a tad, just enough to keep it going and enough so that it like didn't overshadow anything else that you had read the entire book for, you know. But it is truly one of the best works of fiction I've read in a long time, and I love it a lot. And if you're weird and you like weird books and you think you might like it, please pick it up because it was great. Yeah, that is my top pick of the month, one of my favorite books that I've ever read, and definitely maybe my favorite book of the entire year. So oh god. Those are all of the books that I've read, that's heavy, in the month of July. And let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree about any of these. Let me know if you're interested in reading any of them, because that'd be cool. And yeah, until my next one, I will talk to all you soon. Bye!